The beautiful content is Aaron Glazer is the world's worst cam girl. Are we live now, Buzz?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, cool. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 17th episode of the third season of Second Sons. This year is rapidly approaching its end. I am, as always, I am Roy Rogers, formerly of the New York City Meta, presently of My Apartment Meta. There is a documentary of some kind on... A Scent of Woman is the name of the documentary that's currently on in my apartment, and that was my lovely fiancée, Alla. And joining me today is much of our usual crew. Aaron Glazer's forehead does not get to speak in this segment.
Oh, did it go? Did that again? What the hell?
But Aaron Glazer is the world's worst cam girl. Just to be clear, it's very important that you all understand that. I'm also joined by my former world's roommate, all around good guy, and the only man to self-eliminate himself from the Shots for Plots World Championship. How you doing, Sandy Barnabas?
I'm good. I had dinner with Darren from Worlds because he was in New York. So I can talk about L5R if you want.
I mean, you should really tell him that he's not a member of the EU anymore because he's clearly very confused.
He's got a couple months.
I think he was hanging around the UN trying to find new country affiliations.
I feel like a lot of the Brits don't appreciate Brexit jokes. That I know Bamford doesn't. So
that sucks for them.
They get sad.
Maybe they should literally embody Brexit when they're sitting at the dinner table then.
Our country is a dumpster fire. We can make fun of whoever we want.
Yeah.
Also joining me today is fresh from Worlds as well is Chris Schoenthal. How you doing today, Show?
Hanging in there.
Cool. And last but definitely not least, our master of the technical side, someone I'm very excited to see in just a couple of weeks at Red Saturday. Buzz, how is your countdown to Stahleck going?
Lots of work, no playing. So...
Well, you're taking like a 2-week vacation, right? Something like that?
Yeah.
So, gotta get in the real work before you jump into it. So that basically introduced everyone. We'll be joined by Sandy has the history of being fired and hired in the same episode as the Second Sons host, and Jesse Carpenter is going to be late to his first episode as a full-time Second Sons host. Firmly showing we are the best video cast in Thrones. But we're going to just jump into it because this is our post-Worlds episode. One quick programming note. We are not doing the pick'em results in this episode. We'll do that in our post-Stahleck one because Sid hasn't had time to collect all the information from the top 8 deck lists. But we'll have that for you all next time and when we talk about how awesome Stahleck was. So, but let's just jump into it. Congratulations to our new world champion from Hanover in Germany. Leonard has replaced Reinhardt as the world champion, continuing to prove that Joe Mirando, being the 2016 world champion, was a curse upon America that will never be lifted ever again.
Or it says that Joe Miranda is the only American world champion ever.
Oh, God.
No one else can take his place. He broke the mold.
He broke the mold. 2016 really was the worst. And we are getting Martel Wolf champ deck next year, which I know Glazer got like
no, didn't care at all.
Just thinking about that.
Didn't care at all.
Not especially. I don't know cards. What difference does it make to me? Oh man!
Because when you borrow them from someone, they're going to look prettier.
Oh, okay. My deck is entirely Roy promos anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I will.
That's actually how we determine
Wolf out of just sheer dislike of the archetype. Now I'll probably buy it. I haven't bought the Reinhardt deck though, so it's a lie. I won't buy it. But anyway,
Chris will have 18. He'll just send them to everyone. Don't worry about it.
He defeated friend of the show, former guest host Brad Eamon, who was playing Targ HRD Marine in a sweet Wausau build. So we did have a really cool NA versus EU final again. In fact, there was at the top 8 and the top 16, I believe, were evenly split between Euros and Americans. They just were on opposite sides of the bracket. There was like an all-American bracket and an all-European bracket.
Top four.
Was it top four?
Only top four because Neil was in top 8.
Oh, it was in the Euro bracket, right?
Yeah.
Neil was in the Euro bracket. Congratulations to, again, friend of the show and I think friend of all the people on this cast, James Walmsley, on an amazing run into the top 4. He was King of Swiss in day 1 and just sort of kind of smashed the tournament. His cards didn't line up in the top 4, but he had a really just amazing run.
One day, like for the cast, we need to figure out who would have the most card designs if FFG didn't totally take away all their card designs. Because like it's either Wama or Jesse, I think.
Jesse would get one from this weekend. So
Jesse would get one from this weekend. Jesse would get one from his last like Gen Con, whatever. He won another one, right?
Right. Yeah. He won the Gen Con melee. But
yeah.
So like think about Gen Con melee.
They didn't talk about
the infamous year that Sandy and I destroyed each other. Yes.
There's also the Gen like they definitely gave out the Gen Con melee cards. Isn't that how we got that Stark location that no one plays? Yeah,
that is
Aurelio's card. But then that was back when Gen Con was Worlds, though, right?
Nope.
No, Aurelio won in like 2000. Yeah, Aurelio won the last one.
Oh, okay.
That year,
that was the year there was a lot of card designs handed out. There was 2 at Stahleck, 2 at Gen Con, and 3 at Worlds. 4, right?
There weren't 3.
Melee, Draft,
they didn't give overall
and
at Gen Con.
Sam. Right? They gave out one for each of the main events, right? At Worlds that year?
Yeah.
In 2015 they did, correct.
2015, yeah. That was like 8 card designs handed out a year. That's a lot, but yeah, so it was a really great Worlds, really interesting meta, which I think we're going to turn our attention to. But I guess we should recap our tournaments a little bit here. I'll start with myself. I managed to go 3-0 in the first 3 rounds, and then fail to find a 4th win and not make day 2, which was one of the more heartbreaking moments of my Thrones career. But it was a really good tournament overall. I was really happy with the deck that Lances ended up on, which I'm sure Glazer and I will talk a little bit about later. I played Stark Fealty. Sandy, how did your day go?
I went 3-1 and then lost my last 2 games to also finish 3-3, which was pretty dumb. But whatever.
Doesn't feel good.
I played some garbage Targ deck that I put together at the end. I shouldn't say I put together because I think I basically got it from Bryn or somebody else. Like I combined like 15 Targ decks into one monstrosity that was ended up being not great. So.
And Show and Thaw, how did your weekend go?
Sorry, what's that, Roy? You're breaking up a little bit. I can hear you.
Oh, how did your weekend go?
What's that? No, I couldn't. Okay. I couldn't quite.
All right, so
that.
Chris doesn't want to talk about it, so we'll jump right into the meta read. So
why don't you care how my weekend went? That's fucked up.
Yeah, what'd you do that weekend?
I
stream.
proctored some SATs. I watched the stream. I hung out with a 2-year-old. It was all in all not worse than being in Minnesota. That's for sure.
A nice little weekend.
Yeah. It sounds like a good weekend. So I think we'll talk a little bit about because I think because we'll talk about what we thought about the meta going in. So the Lances, which Aaron and I were part of the Worlds building team there, we thought that level 1 was going to be Greyjoy and X decks, particularly Targ and Stark. The level 2 strategies would be people who target those strategies. So that would be things like Targ Burn, like HRD Marine, Stark, like mid-range, and Night's Watch cohort that just did a really good job, particularly on beating up on Greyjoy, but also had good X matchups. And then the level 3 strategy, which we definitely didn't have any faith in. I'm sure if Glazer had gone to Worlds, he would have done this. But our eventual world champion ended up doing this, was Martell Wolf, a control decks that had really good matchups against things like Targaryen, but got blown out by the X decks, the Greyjoy pinch decks, the Greyjoy running King in the North decks. So the Lances, we ended up on a level 2 strategy. We said we wanted to bring Stark. I was joking with Wama about this because he and the Brits also brought, a lot of the Brits brought Stark Fealty, is we started with a very mid-rangey deck that was closer to Wama's deck that he brought and ended up in a combo cat deck, while Wama started at the opposite place where he started with a combo cat deck that became much more of a mid-range sort of challenges-based deck. But we ended up playing.
Which one of us went top 4?
Wama did, but both Darknage and Sean Emberley did just fine in the top 32 and top 64. So the Lances did well overall, even if Jesse and myself and Matt Gaiman missed. But it was a good tournament for us. But that's sort of where the Lances were, because where did SoCal think that they would end up, Chris? Where did you guys see the meta?
I think we saw it pretty similarly to you, and I do want to clarify that, like, when we talk about levels, we're not talking about like 3 being better than 2 or anything like that. It's more of a triangle than a pyramid.
Right. Or circle. It's like a circle.
Or, a circle's fine. What? A triangle's a flat pyramid. They're different.
Sure. Okay.
Anyway,
it's fine.
So I think we were in a pretty similar place to you in terms of the meta read. We had Stark higher than you guys did. I think we had Stark, I guess, a bigger share of the meta game. So it was more a level 1 deck to us than it was to you guys. But we all ended up on pretty diverse decks. There were like at least 4 different decks from the people in SoCal.
Well, does the 4th count as a person in SoCal?
Yeah, he did when he played. But especially since he's the only one of us the top forward.
Forward. Oh wow, that high, huh?
Yeah. In any case, I think we had some good tests. We had some good ideas, and some of them just didn't quite pan out. It was interesting to see Colin Weir post his Lannister Dragon build and comparing that to our Lannister Dragon build and how different they were. And it worked for him, I guess, at least as well, if not better than ours, because I think he got top 32 and so did one of ours. Although I guess Neil was running that as well, so maybe ours is better. But yeah, that's where we ended up. I was personally on a Greyjoy Rose pinch deck that had 3 pinches and drew none of them in the 3 games I played. So,
Sandy, where did you think the meta was going to be going into the weekend?
I mean, much like you guys, or much like the Lances, I guess, I was thinking that it would be almost all Greyjoy and some Targ and Stark. And it was the exact opposite. I think my deck beats Greyjoy like close to 100% of the time, and I just never saw it.
We all brought Greyjoy tech decks. So this happened at Gen Con too. We sort of all need to realize that America is just going to play the straightforward deck. America's not like going to play the deck that beats the deck. The majority of people are just going to be like, hey, what's been good lately?
But
I'm going to take it. Cool.
But that's not true. I mean, Greyjoy was the deck, the easy deck to play, and nobody brought it.
No one there were no posted T1 Greyjoy builds.
See, that's the difference.
It was only good for like 3 weeks before. That's not enough time for most people.
Only good for 3 weeks before.
But 3 weeks isn't a ton of time, right?
Yeah.
Like Stark and Tark had been good for like 3 months. They have been good literally since the restricted list. They were the 2 houses that got the biggest, flashiest cards. Because like the card that made the Greyjoy deck so good isn't even a Greyjoy card.
Sure.
Pinch.
Right. Well, there's also Vince, but yes.
Yeah, but like
Vince
again,
a recent addition.
Vince, exactly. Like people saw all the flashy Targ cards that came out and all the flashy Stark cards, and that's what they took. It was the obvious thing. I feel like we were out thinking, like, because we're so involved in the meta, we tend to overthink what people will bring. While people who are, don't spend like 4 hours a day arguing about this in a giant chat do less so.
I want to circle in actually on what I think is the most convincing point that you have, which is that there was no good published Greyjoy fealty lists. for Americans to use as a base point, or Europeans, but anyone really, but mostly Americans to use as a base point. Unlike the Bay of, I was literally told by a couple people that they took the Storm Bros Bay of Crabs list and made a couple of changes, a couple updates, and that's what they wanted to play Targ-wise, right? And these people did well. Like there were published Targ lists, there were published Stark lists that were successful, and no Greyjoy. Like people have been keeping the Greyjoy close to their chest, and the number of people talking to them at Worlds, really good players, including Wama, who had almost brought Greyjoy was very high. Like we were on Greyjoy to what point, Glazer? Saturday or Sunday? I think it was Sunday.
The idea was that we would all take different decks. People would take what they're best with. And Sandy, if you don't bounce that immediately, I'm going to kick you.
Oh, yeah, I should do that.
They're playing a really good game.
Just sitting here.
Buzz, as an outside observer, what did you think about the weekend going into Worlds? And what did you think about the meta on the day?
I was really surprised. We all were. We were chatting away in the Swedish chat about the lack of Greyjoy. Did get some resurgence though in the day 2, right?
Day 2. Day 2 was much closer to the meta that we thought it was going to be than day 1 was.
1B specifically, right?
1B,
yeah, 1B.
Yeah, not day 2.
And I actually agree with that point as well. But I'll let Buzz carry on.
So what we are all up in the daggers in the back thingy, so we haven't thought about the World's meta because it doesn't concern us that much. We were more fighting for getting daggers in the back legal for Stahleck, which they weren't going to do at first. The lack of Greyjoy in day 1. Otherwise, I think we've just chilled out, watched the decks, and tried to deconstruct them from the stream. And there were some... Like, we were so surprised with the Wasa lists that they didn't run a reset. Like, what? So that confused us for a day. Otherwise, I don't think we had any real discussions on the meta. It's like at 1B, we're like, okay, yeah, this was the meta we thought. Fine, cool, that's it.
Yeah, I definitely think that's an interesting point about the deck's not super surprising overall. Like I think with the major storyline is the lack of Greyjoy, and then I guess maybe the lack of Stark X. Did anyone else think that there would be? We thought there would still be some Stark X, but there was none.
I did. I kept telling everyone there wasn't going to be any.
I would have thought there would be. So, how many Lanny X was there?
A little bit. One was in the top 64.
Yeah, one. That's the only one I saw. But
there's maybe a couple more. I think did Mackenzie end up playing? There was very little, but I think Adrian was the only she was the only player who broke with it.
Yeah.
And definitely I think the only player who in the whole tournament went 3-3 with it. It was not a good weekend for him.
So I think we put the Rush players on Targ X and Lanny X rather than Stark X. But yeah.
Yeah. And that was kind of our read too, was that Targ Crossing was the deck that you can't bring a deck that doesn't have a game plan against it.
Yeah.
The Stark decks were cute, but we had some natural built-in answers because we were pretty high on Illidan in general in the meta, and that just destroys Stark X. So, but I think Roy's point about not having published Greyjoy lists is very relevant because
that was not Roy's point. That was my point. Way to take my point that Roy was like Glazer's best point. And
Fine, it was
Roy's point.
Aaron Glazer Esquire's point regarding the lack of published Greyjoy lists, and definitely not anything Roy said at all.
Accurate.
But I ended up on a Greyjoy list that had Pinch, but before Johnny and I talked about that list, I didn't really have any. I saw that they were doing well, and I saw they had a really good showing at Thronestoberfest, but I couldn't really tell what it looked like. Was it just a normal Greyjoy list with those cards shoved in, or what?
Yes.
But and the answer turned out to be yes. But I thought it might be a bit more nuanced than that, and it turned out not to be. But that's all right. And now I've seen it like even as a banner package with people just running the Raiders and then pinches. So that's I think that kind of took us by surprise a little bit.
Yeah, I think another interesting story, at least to me, and it was sort of like walked away from it when I was flying home, is just like Leonard made a really, really risky call. I mean, this is like Glazer and I were talking about after the tournament. Like, he didn't run into any Greyjoy in the entire tournament, from what I understand. And
But wouldn't he have loved to?
I don't think so.
Really?
Like,
Killed by Greyjoy, yeah.
I think that the very
Double reset and marched.
Double reset,
Double
double
reset-
marched, and Bolton
Is-
flares that cannot be saved.
The timing of Vince is like a really good Greyjoy player, given the timing of Vince and location control, is wildly, wildly, wildly annoying for that type of Martell.
So
Like, in
Yeah.
order to win it, very, very, very often needs a Varys, which he didn't run. And like, while he can beat Greyjoy, if they are smart with their Vince, he's usually not going to.
like a Vince on a Ramsey can be a huge blowout in
So it beat me earlier today.
in that.
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
if you
maybe if it's a crossing deck, so it's actually quite fast. So you cancel it and then you close the game. But if Martell has any tools to stall your power game at all, I think they just has such a good matchup.
I just think there's so many things that can go wrong for the Martell player in that matchup. Like,
Yeah.
there's
I agree with that.
like a
It's volatile
Euron
for
Dorn.
sure, but
Like, it's not something I think, particularly having watched Leonard play it a bunch in the cut. Like, he played it very methodically and very, very carefully, like, or very, very cautiously,
I think
I guess you could say. And I don't think the deck was prepared for Greyjoy. I mean, I think it had a game plan against Greyjoy, but I don't think it was technically.
some of that is I think when you lose as Martell against Greyjoy, say it's a 50-50 matchup, 20% of the time you will lose, and there's nothing you can do, and it feels so bad, and you're locked out totally. And I think I would think that feel bad is what's making you lose. No, it's a bad matchup. No.
So two
And
things.
King Plot, as the chat
No,
said.
two things that I think are really important here. The first important thing is that was exactly my experience before Vince, where it was a really annoying, grindy matchup most of the time. I would usually win. Vince on a Ramsey at the wrong time, because it takes several turns to get them to that point where you're ready to march their shit away. And if not, they Leonard won everything on time. If not, if they just keep that one renowned guy, you're just annoyed and have lost. But the other real problem that I found in the matchup is that we found when we built our Greyjoy, was that current Greyjoy has to be teched for Targ, and all the shit you do to tech Greyjoy for Targ makes it significantly better against Martell also.
Like, double barring is like a giant pain in the butt for
Well, because if you're running
the flea bottom builds.
if you're running Greyjoy, you run double barring, because not only is it shutting down, like, you're not running it for Martell. Yeah. I mean, if you're running Wars anyway. But, like, it screws up Skagos entirely, and it screws up all Targ's stupid tricks entirely. And, like, if you can shut those down, like, you're in pretty good shape against those houses. That it also makes Martell cry tears is just, like, a side bonus. But, like, since you're teching for that kind of meta, the top Greyjoy really screws over Martell right now. I wish that weren't the case, but here we are. The other really fucking annoying thing is how good Greyjoy is at making Arya not matter. And then, like, you Valor, they save, and you're just like, well, I'm gonna lose now. That's fun.
I mean, it just, I think, to circle back around to my original point, I think Leonard he ended up making he was a risky call. He gambled. At least that's my opinion. Like, he gambled by bringing Martel Wolf. I mean, he's clearly a great control player, having watched him played on stream and just sort of watching his games throughout the weekend and been at a melee table with him. He's very methodical. He's a good control player, but it was a risk. And he was rewarded for it. And I'd be interested, and maybe the people who go to Stahleck can tell us this, like whether or not Leonard thought he was taking a risk, or he thinks he called the meta perfectly in advance, where he was like, people thought we were going to bring Greyjoy. I don't think they're going to bring Greyjoy, so I'm going to bring the stuff that beats Greyjoy. Because his deck just beat the shit out of Targaryen, all day long.
I can tell you now. He plays Martell.
Yeah.
He took his favorite Martell deck and went to Worlds. That's it. That's what people do. That's what Euros do. They generally just take a faction they're good at, their favorite deck, and they go and they play super well because they've played it 200 or 300 times.
So
that's certainly a fair way of doing things.
It's definitely a fair way of doing things. And that showed in his play, which was very clean.
And we're also that deck and another he played phenomenally. He completely deserved to win. I thought Frankie was going to beat Wama, and if Frankie beats Wama, Frankie's beating Leonard.
That was what was Frankie playing?
The Tyrell Alliance with Dragon and Cohort. That just crushes Martel. It beat him in Swiss. It's basically an unwinnable matchup.
In every game, he had Renly and Queensguard on hand, marshalling turn 1 every single time.
I mean, look, Frankie
in a 75 card deck. I mean,
lucky
if he doesn't have that against Leonard and he gets to use Gaston or stall the game out, he had quite a lot of icon control. Helps a lot.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think so.
And all of the cannot be saved stuff is so good. His board is not that wide. He has one big dude that he's standing all the time.
Right.
And some helpers. And if
he beat him in Swiss.
He gets completely crushed by a Flayer into March into Ramsay. It's just his board is gone.
So you would think so. It doesn't usually work out that way. The issue is to set that up takes a couple turns because they can usually go wide enough early and just cause trouble. But the real issue ultimately ends up being that if they only need to get Renly going for one turn. Once they get that 6 to 8 power on him, they can just play stall. They can just play defense. They can broy that Tyrell game. I've played Martel Wolf.
6 to 8 power on him is not one turn, by the way.
Sorry, 6 to 8 power total. Yeah. But you get the 3 on him, and then you get a couple unopposed and here and there, and then down. And then at that point, you're at 8 power. They're at 2 or 3, and you can basically just wait. You can play the stupid Roy game of no offense, Roy, but the type of thrones I don't like, the type of thrones you do, where you just wait and stall and wait and stall. I played Martel Wolf functionally exclusively for 6 months now. Those cohort decks are really, really good at taking away exactly what you want to do. You play Gaston, they're like, all right, I'm going to win a challenge with some other guys, and now I'm going to stick the stupid 7 gold on it. They're going to hit your door, and they just hit whatever you want to do in really annoying times. They can
Buzz, if you play.
Yeah. Well, in chat.
If you play Arya, there is no can't be saved Arya because she's immediately milked. There's just not an answer.
Yeah. I do think that Frankie's deck was very strong and does have a good Martel matchup. I think you're largely right, Glazer there. But we are joined now. Hello, are you there, Jesse?
I'm here.
Cool. We are joined now by World Melee Champion for 2008, Jesse Carpenter. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good as well. So we're in the middle of discussing the World's meta. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what your thoughts about the tournament overall were?
The Joust?
The Joust, yeah. We're going to be switching to Melee in a minute because you got to get to Stahleck.
I thought there was going to be more Greyjoy. Overall, it was a pretty balanced meta. There's a lot of really interesting decks out there. I think everyone was kind of going towards the same idea, but I think it was a pretty solid meta. There was nothing super insane that surprised me. Maybe I was expecting Kevin Shannon's Targ Wolf. That was really surprising. But other than that, I pretty much could have called everyone else. But yeah, it was really good meta. Honestly, really balanced.
Actually, that's a good point, Jesse. Schoenthal, do you have any insight about Kevin's Targ Wolf and what
don't.
caused him to bring it? He didn't tell you at all.
I've never seen the list nor played against it.
Okay, because we had a Targ Wolf in testing that we liked for a long while, right, Jesse? Right, Aaron?
And you jerks were just like, we're not going to test that. We're going to test this Tyrell deck instead, and then we never went back to it. And I cries. I still have that list. I cries.
It lost to some things though. Did it lose? It lost
No,
to.
it didn't. We didn't find it. Like there was that
thought we
point
did.
early in testing. No, there was that. No, it straight beat everything we put against it. And there was that point early in testing where we had that stupid Tyrell deck, and we had the Targ deck, and Jesse's like, let's just pick a deck early, and John's like, it's the Tyrell deck, and we picked the Tyrell deck, which we dropped like 3 days later, but we never we ignored the Targ. We never looked at it again, and we found nothing. Beated it.
Are we convinced that the Targ Wolf deck is actually good, or that it's just Kevin Shannon being Kevin Shannon?
Targ Wolf is definitely.
I don't know. I mean, it is definitely Kevin Shannon is the one that won like in the year of.
So I have this. One of the brilliant things about having this spreadsheet from Worlds is I can actually look at the data that we recorded, and we found that it was 50-50 against Stark and Targ X, which was our measuring point about whether or not we wanted to jump into a world, including games where Roy Rogers beat Aaron Glazer playing against this. So if I'm beating Aaron, that means that the deck needs some revisiting. So
by any means.
But yeah, definitely, I agree with Jesse. Definitely, Kevin's deck was probably the most interesting, like, new archetype. Like, if I think Leonard's balls of bringing Martel Wolf and getting him the championship.
Wait, want to hear something cool?
Wow.
Kevin Shannon did not see a single Targ crossing or Star crossing all day.
That helps.
It's amazing how weird matchups work out like that, right? It's like,
it's true.
You can't play this deck. It's got this bad matchup. People are and it's just like, nope, not going to see it at all.
It's true. You can definitely run in
this much. Like, he admitted that he's just like, I lose to Rush. Oh well.
Yeah.
It's true. You can win 3 games in a row against matchups that you're like, this is good. This is good. I like this matchup. And then suddenly you go Targ Crossing. Okay, set up 1 card. Cohort deck. Nope, that's not going to be good. Oh, aggro. That's not going to be good.
He did play against Star Crossing in the top 16 though.
Did he?
Yeah, against Adam Huang.
And that's what beat him, right? Adam beat him?
No, he got top 4 against Fred.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I only have Swiss up. I'm sorry. No, I have the loss to Brad Eamon. Then he beat Shannon Donnelly, Martel Wars, Stark Crossing. Yeah. Stark Crossing very often just came down to who saw Ward first. If you saw Ward first, usually just won. It was just like, cool, I got my Ward. Have a nice day.
All right. Any other thoughts about the World's meta, the weekend?
So
before we go to melee and shots for plots,
we're not doing melee and shots for plots. That's boring. Instead, let's talk about what do you think the best decks at Worlds were?
Well, I think that's boring because that doesn't matter anymore. So let's go back to talking about melee.
Why doesn't that matter?
Because it's a new meta now. We have a
pack.
I don't think this pack shapes the meta that much.
Yeah, you're right. Assault from Shadows probably doesn't change the meta at all as to what's going to be played. Sounds right.
What's going to be played. I think it changes what's going to be played. I don't think it changes what's best.
Are you saying the best, most refined deck?
Yeah. What's the most refined, interesting, good deck? Interesting takeout. What's the best deck?
Honestly, the
one.
Yeah, probably Leonard's. My second choice, after playing a few games with the top decks, I think Colin Weir's deck was really good. Like, really good.
Really?
I think it was really
Dragon?
well placed. Yes. It was odd. People didn't know how to play against it. I think it was a couple tweaks away from being like world champion level deck.
I
I think
bunch of kill spells, so Jesse's being Jesse.
I like the deck. I mean, it gave Wama a ton of problems.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Wama's deck was obviously really good too. It was just really refined, But
I think Wama's deck was probably the most refined for both the meta and like on a deck building level. I think Leonard's was probably one of the best versions of Martel Wolf, but I think like just looking, if you bring deck construction and meta read overall against the field, I think it was Wama's.
the best meme deck was Daryl's for sure.
Builders with
I
superior
hate
claim.
builders, but he just blew people out with Clash of Kings all fucking day. Off the gold towns, that's how he got them.
Got him.
I think Wamo's the best deck pilot matchup there. Like, I think Wamo played his, like, every time I saw Wamo play, he played incredibly. But I think the best deck was probably Targ HRD.
I mean, Bratz's list is still really good.
Yeah, I think Targ HRD is just, like, I think it's the best. I'm not sure if it's the best deck in the meta, but I think the sheer amount of cards it sees gives it so many answers and so many matchups. And, like, obviously he made the final table, and I'm not trying to be insulting because he made the goddamn final table at Worlds, which I've never done. But, like, Brad Eamon's insistence on going first in that last match really hurt him.
Yeah.
Like, if he went second several times.
So
but also he like made an insane comeback too. Like he was fucked and then not fucked and then fucked again. And
He played great except for that.
Remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, I agree. Like the winter die
intoxicated,
turn was not great, but everything else was.
He'll
like-
explain
like,
to you
it was a
why he
sweet-
went first, and it made sense to me at the time. But it all comes down to Brad Eaton being better than me. I know that was the point of the conversation because I didn't understand his line, but it was a good one. I just don't remember what it was.
Sam
We'll
gave
have to
Brad
get
a
this.
7 out of 10 at that table, which I thought was a pretty good. I asked them, so. But yeah, I mean, I definitely the turn was it the you win or you die turn to
Yes.
his valor. Yeah, he should have gone.
Should have gone second
That was-
there. And
yeah.
no,
that was
no,
what I
no,
would have done.
There
That
was
was the
another
major turn.
There was another earlier turn I thought where he ended up getting Jorah Wanderers at the same
That
turn.
was
I'm
the
confused.
turn I'm talking
Okay.
about, right?
That was the
Then
turn, yeah.
And there's one other one where it was just like I thought he like learned something from the other time. He was like, "Nope, gonna do it again." And I was like, "No, he doesn't have the econ to support going first right now. What do you?" And it was just
Yeah, I think it could also just be Brad is an amazing card player, but he didn't have the like reps against the
and he
matchup.
admitted that much. He admitted like I don't play Thrones enough. Like that kind of bit me.
Also, for a Martel Wolf deck, it had a lot of interesting choices.
oh yeah, it was.
Like-
It's a 3 brand is just still. I'm still like
The
everything.
three
Like,
core,
it's a really
the three
good
core
deck.
Hota as well. It's the right
Always
call. But
three
we can't
core
forget that.
Rota, always Martel.
Yeah,
It's the right call when you're running double March to Endo Harris. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm not as sure. Instead, he had 3 ways to get it off the board whenever he wanted to.
And Fallen from Favors also.
yeah,
He didn't run Fallen from Favor.
No, but
Fallen.
I mean it's a plot that you
yeah, absolutely.
consider
You're right.
when you're building Martel. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely, to go back a little bit, I definitely agree that I think Colin's deck was probably one of the more surprisingly like well constructed and surprise decks. And I watched Colin pilot a really tight game against a Free Folk deck that almost blew him out on the first turn, and he managed to grind his way back into that game. It was really impressive. I think the other really surprising deck
Before
of
you
the
get to
tournament
before you get to surprising, can we just get some quick opinions on Free Folk? Because I was curious, both going in and then leaving the tournament, where people think Free Folk. Like, did you expect it to be a little more prevalent than it was, or do you think it hit the
No.
right spot in terms
I
of
think it's an
percentages?
utter garbage agenda. I think people can pilot it well, and it just blows
think
people up because there's
I
no
think it's-
tech. Like the tech for it is literally running Bill Bone. Who like I like Bill Bone. I'm just saying like if you watch people play it, like you just have to be a good card player and kill everything. I think you have to see your pieces, but I don't think it's a tier 1 agenda.
I think it's strictly a tier 2 agenda. I don't think I thought it was gonna show better than it did. I feel like there almost has to be a way. Like everyone who built every version I've ever seen of it is running heavy mill. I feel like there almost has to be a heavy intrigue version that no one's bothered building. But
I'm sure there is, but Shadow Cersei is just better, right? Like, I'm just being honest. Like,
I mean, probably
because you can
Probably.
play other Lannister cards.
Sure, but the only problem with that is you have to see her, right? The other one gives you the agenda. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's the only way I can think it could be good that I haven't seen explored.
Sure, that's fair.
I mean, definitely there was less free folk than we thought, but I still heard some horror stories from people about free folk ruining their day.
It'll blow you out, or it'll lose bad and be like, "Ooh, feel bad." People should probably stop playing it at big tournaments now. It's not going to win.
It's
Buzz?
It's way
I feel like
underrated.
it's another card.
It is. It won Varberg against Heavy Field. It's. I mean, and I don't think people have refined it totally yet. Definitely.
I agree with that.
You can play the song version with Lesser Giants. You can play 3 Ghoul Towns and
Tom.
Tom, and what's the last song?
The
I remember 9
Return-
songs.
Use Dornishman's Wife and be restricted.
Yeah, maybe.
Holy shit,
what?
dude!
Oh no,
I don't know if this is
Okay,
accurate, but Georgia gets to vote again.
Yeah, they're in a runoff. Yeah,
Wow.
for governor.
I think
I
this.
missed that.
I think this is a true statement. What I'm about to say, I don't predict things very well. I think that Free Folk will probably end up winning several European tournaments. I don't think it'll ever win an American tournament over 40 people.
Really?
Americans are boring. It'll never be prevalent enough for people to bring it, and people pack answers.
Yeah.
I just
So-
think that's true.
So
I don't know why
I
people
think it's a
haven't
deck that has to
done.
pilot it very well, and I don't think Americans will spend enough time on it.
And one thing I have to mention: why are we discussing Free Folk in Jaws when we can discuss Free Folk in Melee? Because it's even better in Melee.
It is very good in Melee.
Because then I'm going to sleep.
We'll switch to Melee in a minute. I do want to shout out another deck that I think did surprisingly better than many people thought, which Aaron should be happy with, which is Martell Wars. The team of our reigning North American champion brought it, and they placed a bunch of people on day 2, and I think it was
10th, 16th.
Yeah. So that deck surprised me at how well it did. It remains a solid force in the meta, and I don't think people are prepared for it because they need to prepare for a bunch of other decks, and the changes you make to beat Targ, the changes you make to beat Stark, lose to Martell Wars.
I told Glazer I thought it was the best deck.
Yeah.
I just couldn't play that card that cancels plots, and then I played it. And then I played it in Melee and won Melee Worlds.
So, hey, by the way, you know what really screws up Martell Wars super bad? Old Billbone.
Yeah.
It's so annoying against Martell Wars. It's unbelievable. I don't think he wins the match on his own or anything, but if you manage to get and you have to be a little bit lucky, but if you time him right, Martell Wars is I guess I lose now. Great.
What do they have that Nils the faction card?
Your big secret schemes is the big one.
And your the Shadow Black.
Okay. So that's one round. Wow.
Yeah. So it's about doing it on the right round to stall it out, right?
Okay.
I think
it's annoying. It doesn't give you the game. It's just
I don't know. I think the reserve is so high that I think if you mess with them on the round they do it, they probably just do it in taxation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it affects it that much.
Well, in taxation, who cares what the reserve is? You're just cool. I've got another 9 cards, and it's past taxation. That is the
Wait, if you're
interaction
saying
that makes
something,
me
we
think.
can't hear you.
Me? Sorry.
Sorry, I said in standing. You meant in standing, Jesse. Right?
Yeah, standing, whatever.
But that is the interaction that makes me want secret schemes restricted. I hate getting around reserve that way.
So I do think that brings our discussion of Joust to a close. Particularly since we have Jesse here now. All right, Glazer, take out your game that plays
Wait,
itself.
can I do one last thing?
Sure.
Every faction made the top 16, which I don't think any of us saw coming.
Wow,
Oh yeah, that
that's
Barra
really
deck.
awesome.
That's true.
I like that.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't have told you that. But, yeah, I mean, the Werewolf deck was just good, right?
Well, and the Barra, there was another one.
Well, that's
the Knights
Evan.
deck. That's
Yeah.
Evan.
I don't
Evan's
know.
Barra.
Destroyer of Roy's Dreams.
I don't think the deck is like. I just think Evan is insane.
Look, he still made it, right? Like,
Yeah, Evan is
And-
insane.
Disappointed on
I-
stream though, but
Yes.
to trash on people, that's my thing, right? So
Evan had a really good day all around. Really good
Yeah.
week all around. He did well in L5R as well.
yeah, of course. I mean, it's Evan.
He's a great card player.
Yeah.
Very
Not
nice
as well
guy.
as he wanted to, but he's great.
All right. So we'll jump into Melee. I had the single worst Melee weekend of my life. All Men Are
Me
Fools
too.
is a busted card in Melee.
It's a
In
balanced
ladies
card
combo,
outside of
it's
combo.
busted.
Outside
Yeah.
of that, it's a fine. In HRD High Garden, it is a fine.
Or did you get crushed by Nick?
No, I didn't get crushed by Nick. I got crushed by just Melee. The 3-person Melee tables are frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually a change from last year, I think, because 3-person melee this year, the rules were burn 2 titles, and that was it.
Yeah.
Unlike last year,
that's
when it was
yeah, we heard about that. Yeah.
Our
That's so
3-player
bad.
table, we broke the rules and did it the right way anyway.
We did it too.
Jesse.
It's still, but even with the changes, if 2 people decide that they want to beat up on the 3rd person and place people in
I sat down at the
first and
table.
second,
Then you
I
call
sat
it
down
very
there.
brutal.
Yeah, I sat
Hello?
down at a cut table with 2 mummers. It was I barely made it out, dog.
you sent them
So-
both home sad.
I played Builders. It was pretty good. I don't know
You
what
don't
to
even
yeah,
think
you also got your own table named after you, Sandy, despite my attempts to wake you up before I left.
And
Sandy
that actually, I
Round.
think that led to me losing that table because I don't know if you heard Nico's reasoning for why he
Yes.
let Alex win. He's like, I don't think the guy that slept through half the time should actually get to move on. That was a
Cold-blooded.
totally valid argument. But I'll be ready for Stahleck.
Nice.
Playing builders.
I might switch it up.
No.
If you need decks, I'm here. I'm here.
I might just play a wall deck that doesn't run builders and runs the guard tech. So Martel Watch.
Yeah.
House Man Woody, baby.
Yeah.
I mean,
Man,
you
Woody,
sh-
get the
what
fuck
you
out.
should do is play my style of Tyrell with Offer of a Peach and like get the fuck out of my challenges. Banner Watch.
So Hansen was playing some bullshit like that.
Yes.
HRD High Garden,
Yeah, that's my Euros deck. Yeah.
and I think I was the only table he didn't win because I like you can capitalize on people not doing challenges, but
I
can
know a
also-
table he didn't win. The
Woo!
final one.
Spicy, Jesse.
Yeah.
Got him.
Got him.
He just didn't have enough. Like, we all teamed up to stop
Yeah, he said
combo.
he said he burned one card too much trying to burn the combo and then he didn't have anything for you.
Yeah, so Nick had the option of letting my challenge through and hoping that someone else had a hand judgment on the table because him, Alex, and Wama all stopped me using Nightmares and Offer and Starfall. Like, they all tried to, but it was just like I rebounded from the reset really well, and I had a house day night with Dawn. I had another house day night. I had a clutch Dornish Spy to take away Nick's Intrigue Icon, and I had Host of the Bone Way, and I'd already triggered Change of Plans 3 times. So I was at like
You've-
6 U. That was like 5 used plots. Once I triggered Reigns, it was 6. So, and I had a Scorpion Sting that turn for renown on 5 characters.
I'm sorry,
Very
guys.
fair deck.
They didn't have to let me win the challenge, or they didn't have to let me lose the challenge. I just asked. I said, "I'll take any challenge this way, unopposed, whatever you want." And then I triggered Scorpion Sting.
But then
And
you
he had a
win the.
he had a willing partner in Alex Black who wanted to try and win the challenge to get an Olena trigger, which didn't end up working out for him. But it was kind of a reasonable deal because it could have led to Alex winning if he'd drawn the right cards.
Correct. And worst case scenario, Nick has to burn the rest of his cards to stop Alex from winning. And then Nick has no chance to win, and then I have a better chance. So I didn't want it to happen that way, but it was reasonable for me to allow Alex to do the challenge. I needed to trigger Scorpion Sting. I needed to trigger Dorn, which Dorn gave me the Dornish Spy to burn Nick's Intrigue Icon. But Melee was fun overall outside of the combo nonsense. I was lucky enough to play on day 2 where there was a ton more players. We had like 96 Melee players this year.
That's really good for Worlds.
The most frustrating thing about Game of Thrones this year, though, is if you played Thursday, played Melee on Friday, and didn't make the cut or eliminated early on Saturday, you had nothing to do on Saturday.
Did people try and enter 1B that had been in 1A and they wouldn't let them?
I asked and they said no.
Interesting.
So,
I think the most frustrating part is that the only way to get tickets was Melee-ish side events.
I wish they would
that's a
do
later
Joust side
conversation.
events. I wish they would do Joust side events because I was very frustrated. And I told, so like when CT and Alex and them were talking to me about ladies, like I told them, like, if they're going to do tickets that way, you guys should bring it. It's super frustrating. I don't want to play against you. It like messes with the integrity of the game. But
you'll get all the tickets you need.
They'll pay for your trip.
Yep.
So I wasn't planning on doing well in Melee. So I gave my good deck to Eric Green, who made top 16. But
what deck was that?
Start Kraken.
Okay, yeah.
It was literally the old Start Kraken list.
Yeah.
Just with Skagos.
Fun deck to play.
It's really good.
Fun deck to play, but you know what? People actually at the tables I played hated that deck more than they hated the combo decks.
Because it was turn 2 marshalling.
I had no idea what I was doing with it, and I was beaten into the ground before a combo player had even lost.
So there's like 3 people who care about Melee in America. So if you play a deck that I have played before, when you sit down at the table, they're like, fuck this guy. We got to take him out quickly. Or Sandy's the other person who's playing builders, and there's no way to mess with him. So the only way Sandy loses a Melee table is if he fucks up.
Like falling asleep for half the game.
He has to fuck up.
Or trusting Tom McKenzie instead of just winning.
So I took my shots for Plots Melee deck. It was just Martel Reigns. It was really fun. I naveled almost every single game and just watched people cry. I was just like, we got to slow this game down. I can't be giving big renowned characters 15 gold, guys. I'm sorry.
Hey,
it was fun.
How bad would it be if I just stayed in Germany after Stahleck? Because I don't think I want to come back here.
Well, what about
CNN was just kicked out of the White House.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
He was trying to get back in, the CNN reporter. And
they kicked him out. It wasn't
they
like
asked for
he
his hard
decided
pass.
not to go.
Yeah,
Anyway, sorry.
All right, so trying to escape the shit show that is American society right now.
Yeah.
Melee on day 2, outside of combo, was very good. I sat down at a Melee table with one player. I, at one point, got up for 20 minutes while he was marshalling. I was so frustrated. I made the judge come over there. I said, get a hold of Danny. I just want Danny to come see what's happening. Danny would not come out. Danny would not come watch it happen. I was very frustrated.
I spoke to Danny about it personally the day he was there, so
that
makes you feel better, Jess.
He didn't talk. He was very absent most of the weekend.
So I talked to him about that, and he told me that he was told he had to work during the weekend, so he could actually only come over on his breaks. So that was part of why that happened.
Well, that's poor management.
I mean, I don't
come watch the World Championship of the game he deserves.
Fantasy flight, like.
Anyway,
Nate was working on whatever project he was working on. I only saw Nate on Thursday, and he usually tries to come over. Like, it's garbage, but that's Fantasy Flight. Like,
but to the people who play Melee, it was a very good weekend. Obviously, if anyone knows me, winning Melee Worlds meant a lot to me. I got second last year, got very close, and it was very good outside of the combo nonsense. I think we set the over-under at like 40 players, and there was like 90. It doubled it, so that was very exciting.
Because we didn't know they were new ticket bullshit.
They did tickets last year.
It was on Sunday and one day last year.
That's why I said over.
Also, there was nothing good for tickets last year, and there was too much good for tickets this year, so it was like kind of odd.
Also, World was much improved as an experience, although they did fuck up a lot.
Last year, a bunch of us were at IO Worlds, and I definitely would have stayed to play Melee had I not gone.
Yeah, right.
I definitely wouldn't because it was Sunday last year. All right, I think that brings our Worlds discussion to a close. This was a great Worlds overall. It was amazing seeing the Europeans. Congratulations again to Leonard. We hope he designs a powerful control card. Since he's a control player.
Don't.
Yes, please.
Yes,
at least most of the cast does here. Hopes he does, at least. It would be nice to get one. And yeah, so congratulations to Leonard. Congratulations to Eamon. Congratulations to Jesse, our Melee World Champion. But we're going to jump over, because I do think Melee is a good transition point to Stahleck. Because, Buzz, what did Stahleck do yesterday?
So, people were starting to contact me about the Melee Council when they heard about the combo nonsense at Melee Worlds. So I fired off some posts, added some new people to the group that have been hyping up Melee this year, and started a discussion. And obviously, we needed a decision. Well, yesterday. So we didn't have time to really dig into it. But basically, everyone agreed that we probably don't want a combo. And it's handleable if this is one deck. But if it happens to be two decks on the table, it just sucks ass. And so we ended up doing a write-up to the Stahleck organization group. Like, this is what's happening, this is what we think, we don't have time to decide. We'd rather play with an official list, but FFG won't publish one. So this is what you should do if you agree with us. And last minute, I got a mission in Essos deck sent to me. I'm not sure if that's anonymous or anything, but anyway, he sent it to me and explained the deck to me, and like, this is how it works, blah blah blah. You should restrict.
So you talked to Jake Platt or what?
No, he talked directly to Pablo.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And he helped me
Buzz
out.
Says, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be anonymous. Jesse, well, I don't know. Was it this guy or this guy or this guy that knows about the deck?
Well, Pablo is the originator in the United States of the deck, so giving him credit for coming up with it.
That seems like it. But the people who were planning to bring it to Stahleck were now really sad. Anyway,
we should shame them too.
Yeah, he explained the deck to me, and so I added 2 more cards. Was it Rose Banner and Mission in Essos to the suggestions, and basically we're unhappy that we need to have an official one, but the Stahleck organization group agrees with us that Melee is better off without combo, and so
for the entertainment value of the entertainment value of people that don't actually care too much about Melee but are still listening, I want to give a little anecdote about the Mission and Essos deck. So Pablo and his co-conspirator Nick from Southern California, living in Minnesota, or maybe from Minnesota that lived here a while and then went back. I can't tell which, but they figured this deck out in their evil little brains on Thursday, and then Jake was going to take it on Friday, but they hadn't finished the deck, so they handed it to him, and it was like 40 cards, and he's like, "Wait, I have to go play. Like, the tournament's happening," and he's like, "It's not done." So then, I don't remember if it was Friday night or Saturday night, but there was one table at Joe Sensor's that was Pablo and every other combo player you can think of that might have been at Worlds.
It was Friday.
Sitting around this table. Was it Friday night? Sitting around this table, goldfishing this Mission and Essos deck over and over again for literally like 3.5 or 4 hours. And at
Alex
one point there was...
Black.
So it was Alex Black and Platt?
And,
Alex
yes,
Black,
and Pablo,
Pablo.
And Kevin Austin.
And CT was in and out. Alex kept trying to get me to go over there, and I was like, "You can go fuck yourself."
At one point, though, my favorite part was there was a receipt, and on the back of the receipt were like probably 8 to 10, maybe even a dozen initials of cards with equals next to them, and then a different initial of cards that they'd switched out in the middle of their testing. Like, so it'd be like, the blue bard is now this random song, but then like the best part of it all was like later on some other card got switched back to blue bard, so they like just taking it out for itself, and it was really funny.
They did it again on Saturday,
according to Alejandro.
Gosh.
or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I don't remember much of Worlds, but there was definitely a combo table while normal people were doing normal things, like hanging out and talking to their friends.
Combo needs no friends.
Right.
The only thing we see at a combo.
All right, since Aaron's been super disengaged here,
I'm playing Clemens. It's fine.
what do you think is going to be the Stahleck meta?
What we thought the world's meta was going to be.
You don't
Hard
think
disagree.
You don't think Assault from Shadows is going to change anything? You don't think that...
I don't think it should, but I think it might.
Well,
It will, because it always goes back to Europeans play what they want to play.
Winter is
Yeah, I
coming,
guess that's fair.
Like,
and so am I. Oh,
Buzz, did the world's meta change your deck decision whatsoever?
Have I made a decision? Nope.
Correct.
No, I mean, I don't have a deck. That's the issue. We are jumping back and forth on different decks all the time, and yeah, it's like this every year for just for me. So I jump back and forth. I don't have a deck. I end up playing some random bullshit in Joust. I build a melee deck on the evening of, and then regret everything.
I literally had a dream. I was playing at Stahleck with this deck, and so I was like, okay, I guess I'm taking that deck right afterwards, after I'd been playing Thrones for like 40 hours straight.
I think Assault from Shadows is going to make a huge impact. I think it's insane. Like, I think it's so good.
Yeah.
I think Assault from Shadows is phenomenal. I think it's going to take more time to figure out. Like, I'll be surprised if it does super great.
Oh, I
think I agree with that. I don't think it's going to be tuned by then.
I think of someone like Wama or any great European, if they take a deck with Shadows cards in it, or if Brats and them figure out a Shadows deck, like, I think it'll be great.
I'm going to make a prediction for Red Saturday. I think that my apartment will build the best deck for Red Saturday, because Buzz and Platt will be here for like 4 days with nothing to do.
Platt is going to have some busted... No. He just has some combo deck that he's going to play Red Saturday, so...
No, Platt wants to play Burn Shadows.
Is that what he wants to do now?
Burn Shadows?
So
Yeah, like you burn your shadows.
Do we know when the Greyjoy box is actually coming?
we don't.
It's never coming. Don't worry about it.
The new plot, what's it called, the Ravages of War.
That plot's sick.
Doesn't
If we ever get,
ruin Shadow decks?
I hope so.
If we ever get Greg's agenda back, nice to Hollow Hill, that'll be a pretty good opener.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I just don't see it in a lot of. But it is the only dedicated Shadows hate, right? Currently, like plot wise.
Plot wise.
Yeah.
So Jason Malice and the Bear event are both like the nut.
And
Then
the
Hired
Harrow-
Assassin.
Bear
and Harrow
Shadows
Assassin,
hate.
I want King's Law. Give me that plot back.
Oh,
King's Law is
disagree.
pretty busted with the Bear event because you
Yeah,
can then King's
disagree.
Law with your opponent's character.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, there goes Renly. There. Oh, next turn, flip King's Law. Goodbye.
That's great.
Sounds amazing. You're selling me on it, Roy.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, Hired Assassin. Calahundra reminded me. There's Hired Assassin.
Two of us also said that.
Oh,
Oops.
Are any of you who said that as cute as Callahan?
I mean, nobody on this cast is that cute.
Exactly.
True. I think Assault for Shadows is going to run over the tournament. I think there's going to be a lot of it. I honestly think it's going to do. I think, and some of it will do well, but there'll be a lot of it.
Okay, so we've been
play with it.
testing
Sexy.
Martell Assault way before it was on Iron Throne, like with proxies, and we've totally abandoned that. It was tuned like crazy, and like nope.
Just the economy was too bad.
Yeah, it was not worth it. Maybe you play Filter or something instead. It's not worth it. Seems like.
I just don't know the ability to put anything in Shadows in the three houses that have synergy with Shadows. Maybe the Martell location isn't good enough, right?
I don't think the Martell location is good in that deck specifically. I think that the Martell is also trying to give you Shadow's economy. They sort of have anti-synergy.
Yeah. Like Old Town Undercity and the Lannister, was it Bowels? Right?
Yeah.
Is it Bowels?
Bowels is amazing.
Wait, aren't those both loyal cards?
Yes.
Like, and Bowels fixes your economy, right? Because if you can particularly do a trick like put a because it's once per phase, right? Or is it? It's not once per round, right?
Yeah.
So if you put a limited card in and then take the limited card out, you trigger it for 1 gold, and then you bring
And you turn it all about. You do
turn
the
it all
holy
about.
build.
Like, I just think Lannister is the one, and then plus Shadow Cersei is real busted. Like,
I think Tyrell, Martell, Lannister, Barra, and Targ are all really good Shadows decks right now. Like,
You think-
really good right now.
you think
Yes.
Barra? Where's Barra's getting the money?
There's money in the game. If you ask Sandy, when you need money, you just find it.
From what I heard, there's
So
always
Jesse's
money in
back.
the game.
Jesse's back to. There's always money in the Iron Bank.
Also there.
If Breaking Ties is restricted, why would you not play that card? It's insane. If you can keep the board out the first couple turns, and by turn 3 or 4, you have whatever gold you want, and then you can just continue to keep the board out, put your best cards in Shadows.
Because Stark is everywhere.
That's sickening.
Okay.
But you don't even need the Assault from Shadows agenda. The just like the synergy Barra has with Shadows is great. Between Banish from the Light and Red Ronnet, like you banish their character, you Red Ronnet for 2 claim mill. What are they like? They have their board.
Well,
is
I'm
now-
convinced the economy in Barra is so bad you need the Shadows agenda to get a head start. Because you can do 2 limiteds a turn. Without Eleanor, dog.
The problem is you need to have 2 good limiteds to play, and you're playing like a dominance location or like move a that's.
There are a lot of great neutral limited locations.
That is accurate.
There's
Gates of
Grey
the Moon
Hall.
is amazing.
Oh,
shit,
in
it's-
Shadows.
So, since we seem to be in disagreement, anyone on the cast or in the chat, if you want me to play a Shadows Assault deck at Stahleck, just send me a list.
Okay.
Oh, I have to make the deck. This is outrageous. I can't just tell you faction.
Buzz is just coming for a deck here. He's feeling desperate.
Sure, but I mean,
I
totally
here's what I'll
don't.
tell you.
I don't
I
get
think
how Assault
Targ
could
Shadows.
be good right now.
Do it.
I think
Dark
that
Shadows.
I think that Hana will top 32 at its. I think Hana will top 16 with Bear Shadows. That is my call. I think
Okay.
it is that good, and I think Hana will figure it out even more than me.
Because Hano's now a full-on Barra loyalist, right? He's in the Barra.
He says because he's an admin now. He says that if he finds out you don't play Bear in a tournament, he'll just kick you out of the group.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, oh, rip.
I'm hiding. Oh my God.
That's pretty good. Well, he has two opportunities, right? He could play it in Melee or in Joust, right? Does that fall under bringing it to Stahleck?
Yeah, probably.
Sure.
I don't know what the rule. He sets the rules. He's the mod. That's what we learned on Black Tuesday. If you're the mod, you set the rules. Yeah, I think Assault from Shadows is going to be the big story of Stahleck. In the same way, I think that the new agendas, except Conclave, obviously, but in many ways, it felt like House Tyrell was the new agenda. Tyrell House Card was the new agenda in Stahleck last year. It's just whatever the new product is, it seems to do pretty well at Stahleck, and people seem interested in playing it. So,
I mean, so Lanny Shadows, but not necessarily Assault. I think they will do well. Like new Cersei.
Is Lanny Kraken? I think Lanny Kraken Shadows is better than Lanny Assault right now.
Me too.
Probably true.
Probably.
I think Lanny Kraken is really good.
does
I
that
would not
deck
say
run the location?
Fouls.
I mean, Cersei
Probably.
and Bowles is why you would play Lannister.
Yes, otherwise we would play Greyjoy.
And Robert Strong.
That's Wolf, though. You can play Lion if you really want to.
Greyjoy line, man.
Yeah.
New Cersei and Nighttime Marauders is pretty.
Yeah, that's super obnoxious.
I prefer Coastal Reaver. Go first.
Yeah.
Strip their hand, go first. And then, you draw two. Okay, Coastal Reaver. Okay, now I'm Marshall.
Oh, is that the one that makes them put the top card of their deck?
No, they take one card from their hand, put it on,
And
top
put it on
of
the
their
top of
deck.
the deck.
Go ahead.
Ugh, that's gross. That's so gross.
You know what card blew me out of Worlds? He calls it Thinking.
Shocking.
It blew me out.
What did it trick cancel? Skagos?
Mira.
Mira? Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's a bad thing to cancel. It's accurate.
Well,
Mira's
he
a good
let
card,
me.
though.
He played it smart. He let me trigger Mira once. He let me trigger Wyman once to put Mira back. But on the second gold, when I brought Mira back out to cancel the thing I needed, that's when he burnt it. He played it well. Played it very well.
I just
Go ahead.
no, I was just thinking about how I wonder if the Targ group will kick me out if I don't play Targ at Stahleck.
They're not
Check the
loyalists.
admins.
like
Check
the
the
Bears.
admins. Jesse will go and riot for you, though, if that happens. So
I didn't join the Tar group for sure. Fuck that group.
So, what faction do we think will win Stahleck?
Targ.
Oh my god.
Greyjoy.
Stark.
Sweet.
Stark? Maybe?
I think it's Stark or Tyrell.
I still think Skagos is really good, and it gets.
Skagos is insane.
It's such a good card. Such a fun card too.
It is. It's very, very, very like I don't think it's overpowered. I think it's a powerful card, but like it just gets I like cards that get better with better players.
It's so cool.
Like
Those are the
better
worst cards.
Well, that's because they don't work out for you, dog.
Yeah, I want every card to be as easy to use as Marine and his Dar. Like that, if every card was that good.
I have
I'd
seen
be
some really
fine.
bad plays of Marine, like and particularly Waking the Dragon. A lot of people have done the like bad Waking the Dragon plays with Marine. So
Well, it's because they're not first player. They don't realize that they get the card back.
The better the player is, though, the better they're like. The better you see Skagos, like the versatility with it. I think
It's really great in fucking Wolf Banner too.
it's good in any deck you put it in with wolf cards that stand for some reason.
For some reason.
it's just there's just so many fun plays. The blanking your own draw Manderly guy so he doesn't have a drawback, and so you can see 4 cards. Moving Marriage Pacts and Frosos around the board. It's very fun, and I think it's interactive though. Like Skagos, a lot of factions have answers to Skagos, so like I don't think it's super overpushed. You can feel that way when Cat gets like 7 power in 2 turns, but
And you bring Varus out of Shadows. Who cares?
yeah, kill Cat.
God,
I mean, if you can somehow find a way to get Cat down to 4 strength, sure.
wait, is it 4 strength or lower?
Yes.
I thought.
No.
Wait, I thought Varus would just kill a character with power.
4 strength or lower.
Is it 4 strength or lower?
No.
Yeah.
No,
Sure.
kill a character with
Right?
power, right? That's it.
Oh, yeah, you're wrong.
Are you sure?
Is this some playtesting version you're playing with?
I don't know what you're talking about. Nah.
Yeah. After he comes out of shadows, choose and kill a character with power. Bam.
Bam.
Is that it?
Otherwise, he'd be
That is-
bad.
Man, Desert Raider's gonna be real good.
God. Why is Istvan's card still good?
Because that card was fucking busted in first edition. That was even worse because they printed it right around Varus for some reason.
Isn't just Varus his second champ card?
Oh, you know what? You know why I think it was
Patience
four strength or lower? Because when I was hammered a couple weeks ago when I was reading Varus, I kept thinking of ways to give characters power. And I kept thinking Consolidation of Power and Barrel was insane. But it's strength 4 or lower. Damn it. That's where it got me. Yeah, Varus is good. Consolidation's not that good.
Are there a lot of characters with 4 strength or lower that are
His
gaining
star is
power
4
right now?
strength or lower.
How? Oh, that's true. That's true.
Core Catlin is 4 strength or lower.
It's true. It's true.
Blackfish is 4 strength or lower. They don't play him, but he is 4 strength or lower.
Rip Eric Butzlaw.
Right to the face, Eric. Right to the face.
I would play Consolidation and Barra just for the Hisdar nonsense. Kill Hisdar like T1 with Varus. That'd be great.
The Stones, which
Yes.
I heard Europeans think Americans say too much. So
No, they say got him too much.
got them too much. Got them.
That is true. I don't care.
That's 100% Jesse's fault.
What?
Really?
Anyway, got him. Do we have any other General Stahleck thoughts that people want to throw out there?
Who's General Stahleck?
General Thug.
Got him.
The worst.
No, I guess.
Good luck to everyone.
Yeah,
Good luck
I'm
to
sad I'm
everybody.
not going to be there.
Hashtag Team America.
Yeah, we have a lot of good Americans coming over.
Yeah, there's
Hopefully
like
they
10
can.
now.
Yeah, and a lot of really, really good players like Alejandro, Eric Green,
Rats and Nick.
yeah,
And
Brad
Variety
Stick.
of WoW sours.
I mean, people have their opinions, but Booker and Brad are both good card players.
Are they going?
Yeah,
Yep.
Brad is not a good card player. Now hold your horses.
Brad is one of the few people in Thrones that I will say that I am better than.
You
As a
say you're
card
better
player.
than me all the time.
No, as a card player,
You won money at Magic
not
one
as a
time.
human.
Oh. Do we know who won Kingsmoot really quick?
No.
I wanted to play so badly.
I did too. I was stuck in the freaking melee cut like a noob.
Right.
But yeah, shout out to Ryan Ritter for creating a game version and running it.
Congratulations, Ryan.
They
And
should
everyone
have
seemed to like
streamed
it who
it so
played
we
it.
could have evaluated.
And the titles for Kingsmoot looked killer. They were really
Yeah, they
good.
were insane.
Yeah.
They were so cool. I was really bummed I couldn't play, but I'm excited to play sometime.
Yeah. Well, I
Hey,
think
can we talk about that stupid new format real fast?
What
The one that your store wants us to run?
Oh, Rookery Great Hall.
Yeah, why is
Oh,
Great Hall
dude.
a thing?
It's not a new
Great Hall
format,
events.
and it still sucks.
Yeah, Great Hall events. The Strat wants us to run one, and I asked
Yeah, the
Aaron
kids,
and
the
Glaze.
kids are finally out. Yep.
The kids are out. I saw people from Minnesota playing on that playmat, so it definitely exists. Cool playmat.
As your reigning national champion Rookery, it sucks. I didn't play any Rookery cards. You shouldn't. The game can't be played that way. Like, for that format to exist, it has to be designed from the beginning of the game.
I agree.
You also cannot Rookery plots. You just silver bullet them at that point. It's so bad. So bad.
I don't like our silver bullets.
It would be so much better. I hear sideboards are really good and fair things in best 2 out of 3 games.
Should Wars have been a sideboard agenda? Like you can sideboard like 4 plots or something, and then.
How dare you, Buzz, for being smart and trying to balance the game and stuff? Damn. That would have been actually really cool.
God, Donovan.
God, Donovan, your overpushed agenda.
Wasn't it just designed by Nate Finch though?
No, you mean Danny
No.
Schaefer. Wars?
Yeah, in first edition.
Right.
Oh, but it didn't give power up. It didn't give power up.
No.
So,
They designed
So-
it to be better.
yes. Well, he
Oh,
let Don
and the-
have a better
and the-
card.
And the double plots, right?
Also,
All right.
as Severick just pointed out, by the way, Jesse, Desert Raider gives characters power. So there you go. There's your combo one.
Yeah, I know. Matt Gaiman and I were
Dude,
talking about
we-
that
we
earlier.
just
didn't
talked- I
think
just
anyone
said
else
that.
would know about it, though.
Literally what I said.
Yeah,
Roy's going to continue to just be like, and by the way, I figured something out from the chat that the actual podcast said 20 minutes ago.
Because nobody listens to you because you say so many things that aren't worth listening to.
Last time he did that, it was actually to Chris, jackass.
I didn't
But
do anything.
apparently you don't listen to Chris.
Aw, dude, I,
that's-
love everyone.
We knew that already.
Chris's video is frozen on my screen, so I can't tell when he's talking. I'm not good with voices.
My camera just has
This
a the
one,
podcast.
Sandy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are in full filling airtime mode. So I'm going to be cutting this episode with a couple of more announcements / wishing people well. Good luck to everybody at Stahleck, friends of the show. Oh, Chris, you got something to say?
Well, do we want to talk about any of the non-actual like meta stuff that happened at Worlds, like the prizing and things like that?
Prizes were great. I love the ticket system. I actually I spent a bunch of tickets, which is I think the first time I've ever actually actively sought out prizes.
I didn't realize how much money they were going for, so I just gave it away to all my friends, and they were like, "I made hundreds of dollars."
Yeah, I gave mine to CT to buy you a set. Actually, to buy you 2 sets. Jeff.
So I said I would give him all my tickets. All I wanted from the weekend was the Roberts and the Cersei's. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, those are the 2 that I helped get. But I mean,
everybody.
you had more than enough for those yourself too.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought actually all the prizes were really great. I love my fucking Melee top 16 mat. It's the best.
I
You
love
don't have
my
one.
Melee, I love my Melee trophy that has a crack in it because Sandy threw it on the ground.
I did not throw it on the ground. It's out of my hands.
It doesn't have a crack in it. I'm just messing with him.
I was gonna just take it. You're lucky I left it there.
Yeah,
That's how you really win Melee. You steal the trophy.
that's right.
Yeah, the pricing was really good. There were plenty of organized play snafus, particularly on Thursday, like a lot. I got paired down in the second round. Just lots of just nonsense.
Wait, sorry. In Joust, you got paired down?
Yeah.
There were a lot of them.
There are a lot of.
We were correct.
So the event center staff was great as always. Evan and Ryan did an amazing job on commentary. They really improved the production values in commentary, and the watching the feature match area was really well done. So I definitely want to credit OP there. But man, did they fuck up running the Swiss again. So we got to take, your sugar with your, I don't know, your medicine there.
In what ways did they do that? I'm curious.
There's just a ton of mistakes on the first day. Like, I can't remember everything off the top of my head. But, judges interrupting people's games to make non-rules calls. I got paired down.
If we're pinning errors on judges that decided to be judges a week before the tournament and happened to be available, I don't think that's fair to FFGOP.
Yeah, well, it is, because FFGOP should have lined up their judges more than a week in advance.
Sure, but we already talked about that on a previous episode, and it doesn't count as a world's fuck up.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think a fuck up continues to be a fuck up as long as it is a fuck up. You don't get a pass because we called you out on it once.
I wasn't saying they get a pass on it. I'm just saying that for the purposes of the contest, it shouldn't count because we knew it was one going in.
I see. I thought you were trying to Overton window the OP judging, and I was like, come on, we know better than this.
No, I thought that was a very bad situation, but I definitely agree. FFG put themselves in it, but I thought they did so at a different time point.
FFG not announcing things, make good decisions that they made. For example, that it would be bracketed, that the top 64 would be bracketed, but they didn't tell anyone. You had to go up and ask.
That was amazing, though. I not that
I
they
agree.
did the only one, but that system is amazing.
What they did was great, but announcing.
I agree, it was better.
Yeah, I mean, I miss double elimination tournaments. Instead of Swiss, just do double elim all the way through. But that's exhausting. So this is a good compromise. You do bracketing single elim after X-2 cut. That seems pretty good.
It's fair. It's much fairer to the X2s as well.
Yeah.
I thought that part was really well done. But I agree that their communication was really bad all weekend.
People not knowing whether they got prizes on day one. I almost left, but apparently, someone's like, "Oh yeah, you have Greyjoy tokens." I was like, "I went 3-3. Why am I getting tokens?" And they're like, "You're in the top 32 of your day."
32 of your day, yeah.
I was like, "Okay, cool. They're nice tokens."
By the way, I need those tokens. By the way,
well, you're gonna have to get them at Red Saturday because
I guess I can wait. Okay. And my mats, which you brought with me and then took with you.
Yes, I forgot to take them out of my backpack. I didn't realize until I got home.
And Jesse, you have my tokens as well. I mean, while I'm asking people for stuff that they have.
Sure. I don't think I'm going to Red Saturday, but I will send them with someone.
No.
Alejandro got fucked both years. Yeah, that seems about right. I don't know about systemic discrimination, but it's possible.
He did get paired down against Nico. And Nico got paired up against Alejandro. Nico got paired up back-to-back rounds. Pretty rough.
So anyway, we'll talk, I think, probably a bit more specifically when we're rattling off how many fuck-ups there are when we have City back in our post-Stahleck episode to go through the world's pick'ems. But anyone else have any sort of general world closing stuff before I bring the show to an end.
Congrats, Lennart.
Yeah.
And Jesse,
Yeah.
the Melee World Champion that was promised.
I should have
Oh, yeah.
won shots for plots the night before, but I was fucked by someone.
Oh,
Was it me? It was me.
It was you.
Me.
That was a low point of the evening when I had to like fireman carry Sandy Barnabas out of the bar, and whoever voted for Sandy to be the first to vomit definitely wins that in the pick'em.
I think it was
Did I vomit?
You were definitely in the bathroom, and everyone was taking care of you like you had vomited. I did not see you do it. We asked Bohan.
So, yeah, I don't. Well, yeah, we should ask him because I'm not sure I vomited. I definitely didn't feel like I vomited. But that's fine.
Sandy, did you feel like anything? Because like that was the
Could
most.
you
fucked
feel
up I've ever
feelings
seen
at that
you.
point?
Like you were
I'm actually.
you were so fucked up you couldn't call people pieces of shit. Like you were so.
I remember going into plot 3. I don't remember my plot 3 selection. if that tells you
I
where
remember
was.
your plot 2 selection pretty well.
Was it Valor?
Yeah, it was.
You had to earn that playmat.
Anyway,
Oh.
yeah, I had to fireman carry Sandy into the Uber with the help of Natalia.
Winter is coming.
Get him upstairs.
And so am I.
Put him to bed.
Oh,
It was. He definitely eliminated himself, and he set a Shots to Pots World Championship world record by getting himself being the first man to eliminate himself. And we had to go with the melee elimination rules.
Which
not
I'm
good.
glad exist.
Well, we know it exists because of combo. I had to be called over for a judge because the judge didn't know what to do. I said, you should call Danny. In a combo game, LaPlante and Gabby were just like, we're done playing. They just got up in the middle of the game. We're like, we're done. Good for you.
That was Alex, right?
Yeah, it was Alex.
Yeah. So that was Worlds. Again, I am going to actually end the store because the new principal starts tomorrow, and I've got to go into meetings and be observed and stuff. So I should be go to sleep. So we are done with our episodes until Stahleck. So our next episode will be the week of the 19th. We'll figure out a good day that we can get everyone together. I or Sid might be the one doing the internet magic because Buzz will be in New York City. So you might get Sandy and Buzz recording live from Sandy's house. Which
Wait, when is this? The 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, the 20th or the 21st. Yeah.
I think my house will be a shit show that day because Platt will also be here and some other, I don't know who's showing up when.
Aren't we out for dinner then?
I'm sure
no,
we could.
that's the 20th, I think.
We could plan around your.
If I still find a way to coming, aren't I staying there as well,
That's
Sandy?
next episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I could always pitch a tent outside or something. I don't know. Yeah, we'll fit everybody. It's fine.
Well, anyway, Sandy's house could be crowded, so you'll have a big crowd at Sandy's place, and the rest of your usual people talking about the post-Stahleck metagame. And of course, there's Red Saturday. If you are on the East Coast and can make it to New York City on the 24th, you get to hang out with all the Second Sons except Sid, hopefully.
Maybe Jesse.
And
Probably not me.
Oh, rip. But it'll be okay. Yeah, Red Saturday will be a good time. Stock's going to be an amazing time. I'm lucky for everybody who gets to play so much Thrones this year. And then we are, of course, rapidly approaching our end of the year shows. We will be doing the meta report, particularly when people start getting time off, like Glazer and I have some time off that we can record at a time that's better for the Europeans. And
I'm going Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Sometime around Christmas break.
I'm taking note of Disney.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Maybe Glazer might not participate then, so it'll be interesting. But we'll figure something out. And of course, there is the end of year card review featuring myself, Buzz, CT, Jesse, and hopefully Aaron, but he might be at Disney World, that we will go through and figure out what the best cards for 2018 were, which was one of our most popular episodes last year. So
when do you do the episode where you rank people and tell people that they're shit?
That's a missing the cut. No, that's a missing the cut episode. That's definitely happening. Probably from the bar with Buzz as we do pickleback shots.
Sweet. I can't wait.
There we go.
Hard pass.
Anyway, Second Sons fam, it was great to have you all, see you all at Worlds, and we will talk to you all soon. Bye.
Oh, should I?
Why?
You should actually kill that.